So you want to main ULLA, the glorious one. First, ask yourself, why do you want to main ULLA? He's one of a kind hunter. He has melee and ranged attacks. He has 2 fun stances. ULLA is pretty strong when mastered. He's pretty hard to counter. But before you main him, it's good to know the cons of ULLA. ULLA lacks AoE abilities in team fights. He takes time to learn. ULLA is a SMITE Norse Hunter. SMITE has classified him as a hard guard, and I agree. I do find him hard. But he's easier to learn than before, as his first ability is now easier to use before they changed him. If you're an experienced ULLA player, or you just love playing him, feel free to leave any of your own tips down in the comments below. In this guide, we're going to go through ULLA as an ADC, going through his abilities, attack cancelling, combos, builds, counters, what not to do, and general combat tips. With that, let's go through his abilities. ULLA's passive, Weapon Master. When ULLA uses an ability in either stance, his cooldowns in the opposite stance are reduced. Pretty straightforward, but this allows him to pull off a lot of abilities in a short amount of time. So if you spam your entire kit in one stance, you can practically use the opposite stance again in no time. Basically, you can reduce an ability by 3 seconds. It shows you your cooldowns on the left side here. Watch how the ability cooldowns decrease. ULLA's first ability, Bladed Arrow and Thrown Axe. ULLA's one is a line ability type. In his bow stance, ULLA fires an arrow in a line, dealing damage and passing through all targets it hits. This is his main clear and damage ability. In his axe stance, ULLA throws an axe in a line, hitting a single target. This deals damage and stuns the target. This is his main CC ability. ULLA's second ability, Expose Weakness and Invigorate. ULLA's 2 is a buff ability type. In his range stance, ULLA gains bonus physical power for 5 seconds. I recommend activating this whenever you're attacking something. In his melee stance, ULLA gains bonus movement speed for 5 seconds. He can use this as an escape or chase ability. ULLA's third ability, Hail of Arrows and Glory Bound. In his bow stance, ULLA's 3 is a ground target. ULLA fires a volley at his target's location, dealing damage. This ability has a very long range and does a lot of damage. It can also be used as a finisher. It's also great for hitting enemies you cannot reach. In his axe stance, ULLA's 3 is a leap type. ULLA leaps to his target location, dealing damage in an AoE on arrival. This ability is used for engaging, chasing, and it's also his main escape. ULLA's ultimate, Wield Axes and Wield Bow. ULLA's ultimate is a buff ability type. In range stance, ULLA uses his bow, removing disarms and gaining additional attack speed. In his axe stance, ULLA uses his axes, removing disarms and gaining additional physical lifesteal. An important note with this stance, there is only a 0.2 cooldown. It's a really nice direct counter to Gods of Disarms. For example, if Bellona disarms you, immediately switch stances. Now let's get into the leveling priority for ULLA's abilities. For the first 5 levels, at level 1, his 1, at level 2, his 3, at level 3, his 1, at level 4, his 3, at level 5, his ultimate. You can also put a skill point into your 2 at level 4 if you'd like, but I only do this if you want to play it safe or you're being focused for ganks. Otherwise, you put a point into your 2 at level 6. For leveling priority, his 1 for increased damage and stun duration, his 3 for increased damage, his ultimate for increased attack speed and physical lifesteal, his 2 for increased power and movement speed. So basically, 1, 3, 4, 2. Attack cancelling on ULLA. Attack cancelling allows for some extra basic attack damage to come through. This isn't mandatory to do. But I would like to note that attack cancelling is very nice on ULLA, so I would really recommend learning this. First, we'll go through with his ranged abilities. So as you can see, This is the full animation of Ullr's basic attack in his bow stance. We want to cancel that so we can get more basic attack damage in. For his first ability, his 1 on quick cast, basic, 1, basic all right after each other. With his second ability, use your second ability and basic attack at the same time. With his third ability, this one is tricky, but it's much easier to do if the enemy is right in front of you or CC'd. This is due to the fact that you have to aim your 3. You can put this on quick cast or normal cast. If you have a hard time hitting this ability, just leave it on normal cast. Use his third ability and basic attack at the same time. Now moving on to his axe stance, you don't really attack cancel in this stance since his melee stance is more of a survival stance and chase stance, etc. You can attack cancel with his first ability, but his first ability is usually used from far ranged anyway. In any case, if you're in a situation where you're attacking with your melee stance, this is good to know. For his first ability, basic 1, basic. Combos for Ullr. Before we get into combos, a few pointers. Ullr is a really fast-paced god. This is the hard part about him. You have to constantly switch between stances during combos and fight to get the full potential out of his kit. This can be sometimes confusing if you're not used to keeping track of 2 different kits. I'm guilty of that, but with more practice, it gets a lot easier. The attack cancelling I've taught you earlier is really nice on Ullr. You can implement these into your combos. You can implement your bow's second ability buff if you want in the combos. It does give you extra power. I think a lot of people forget to use his second ability. You can implement your bow's third ability in any of the combos. I usually use this as a follow-up. It's great for when enemies are getting away or just for the extra damage. An important note, you can use the buffs from either stance from the second ability and apply it to the opposite stance. For more power with the axe stance, bow stance, activate second ability, switch, melee basics. So now you can lifesteal up your basics. Remember that his melee stance gives him lifesteal and have increased power. This is great for situations where all of your escapes are down and you have to fight your way out. For more movement speed with the bow stance, axe stance, activate his second ability, switch, and then use your ranged basics. This is great for when you need to chase enemies. This is also great when you're 1v1ing enemies as you are moving faster, you are able to dodge things quicker. And one more tip about the stances, you can apply both buffs in one stance as well. For short combos, axe 1, switch, bow 1. This is his main combo. Bow 2, basics, bow 1. Bow 3, basics, bow 1. For medium combos, axe 1, switch, bow 1, bow 2, basics. Axe 3, axe 1, switch, bow 1, bow 3. I know it sounds a bit confusing, he just switches stances so much, but if you guys have any more combos to add, feel free to comment them down below. I would also like to note that his first combo, his main combo is sufficient enough already, and you should use that as a basis. If you're new to Ullr, I suggest just practicing that combo only, and the rest will follow as you get more comfortable. Builds for Ullr. Builds always depend on what kind of enemies you're up against. My builds in this video is just a general guideline. You can adjust accordingly depending on your game and situations. For a power/pen build, Transcendence, Warrior Tabi, Crusher, Executioner, Kin Size, and Titan's Bane. You can pick up Asai or Bloodforge if you want lifesteal, and swap out Crusher or Kin Size for Oddie Bow late game. For power ability based builds, Transcendence, Warrior Tabi, Crusher, Heartseeker, Titan's Bane, Oddie Bow, or Bloodforge, or Jotun's Wrath. For an attack speed/lifesteal build, Hunter's Blessing, Devourer's Gauntlet, Executioner, Kin Size, Titan's Bane, and Oddie Bow. For all these builds, if you need anti-heal, pick up Brawler's Beatstick. For relics, it always is game dependent as well, but the most common relics picked up for Ullr are Purification Beads and Aegis Amulet. Counters of Ullr. Ullr is pretty hard to counter. What you can do is bite Heart of the Nemean Lion, that will counter his basics and reflect damage. Mid-Guardian Mail to some degree also can counter ULLA. Cripples counter ULLA's direct escape, using an aggressive engagement combo and missing his abilities. That's tough. Late game can sometimes be a counter to him. He's just really good early game and mid game, and in team fights he's not that great in comparison to other hunters, but he's still good in late game, just better in mid and early game. Beads and Magi's Cloak will counter his axe stun. What not to do as ULLA. Do not put yourself in risky positions. ULLA can be played very aggressively, but if you hard engage without checking your surroundings, you're doomed. Do not play passive early or mid game. ULLA is so good at out-pressuring and getting kills. His early and mid game are his strongest. Do not jump into the fights in team fights, play from a distance. Tips for ULLA. If you build right and land your abilities, you pretty much will win most 1v1 fights. Do not try and fight multiple people without someone. ULLA is a very single targeted based god. Remember, ULLA can get rid of disarm effects by switching stances. If you need lifesteal and you have no lifesteal in your build, you can switch to your axe stance and your basic attacks in your axe stance will heal you. ULLA can poke a lot. Abuse this. You can take a lot of the opponent's health with your poking. This is why he's so good at out-pressuring. Remember to use your 2 in bow stance. It buffs up your damage significantly. Your third ability in bow stance is a great follow-up ability. You can use in combos, but also remember that with its long range, you can use it on enemies who are getting away. Your third ability in bow stance is also great for poking, especially on enemies who are hiding under tower. When an enemy is chasing you and you have no escape up, feel free to turn around, stun them and use your combo. ULLA can turn a fight around to his favor. Animation cancelling is really good on ULLA. I do recommend practicing and learning that if you want to do some huge damage on him. And that is all for the ULLA guide. Huge thanks to Coolman Ray for bringing us this ULLA guide. Thank you so much for supporting me. Any comments and likes would be super rad. Feel free to subscribe and click the bell if you haven't already. It really helps me out. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I was pretty sick during this video, so I hope I didn't sound too weird. But yeah, I'll catch you for the next one. Bye!